be a junior at Edison High School. But today's guest is Pastor Terry Miller. I met her about 2 years ago, and we talked briefly a few times. I met her at her office a few times, and her church is Valley Ministries. And Terry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Carter.
We're trying to be. And when I met Terry, when you first meet somebody, you know, sometimes you just kind of head off right away. I just thought she was a very special lady that I just wanted her to share her story on the show. And it's been like 2 years. Terry, you want to build a show? Last time I wanted to build a show, like about a year ago, she was on her way to Hawaii for a vacation. And that's the time and stuff, we just not ever be able to get her on the show. But today she's here, and thank you, Terry, for traveling out to Sacramento. Okay, Terry, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up at.
Well, I was born in Modesto, just down the street, and my family moved to the Stockton area, and I've lived in the Valley all of my life. Now I currently live in Sacramento, but I grew up in this area. My father, Thomas Miller, worked for Diamond Walnut, still a place here in Stockton, and was an incredible man. And my mom and dad have since ceased, but my mom's name was Donna. Yeah. So. Your
mother and father is watching with my mother and father right now. They're watching the show.
A great cloud of witnesses, the scripture says.
A great cloud of witnesses?
Yes. Okay. That are with us, and I believe we carry that in our heart. And just as you were talking about your friend, I felt like, you know, there's this yearning in our heart that never goes away.
And we just also tracked with my mother, you know, the show was kind of like named after her, but she collected owls. So that's where the name Puffy Owls come from. But anyway, growing up in Modesto, like say you grew up in Farmington?
Well, I grew up in the Stockton area. I went to a small, we lived out near Farmington on Mariposa Road, and I went to a small church there. My grandmother would take me to church all the time, and that was really an awesome thing. And then we lived in Manteca for a while. I went to high school there, and we're just getting ready to celebrate a reunion. So for all those graduates in the 70s, that's a great thing. During that time, I went down the street to a Nazarene church that was there. My family didn't go to church really, except for my grandmother. But I went to that church, and they had a revival up in the foothills up near Calaveras, and they did like an altar call, and I just felt God's call in my life at that time, and I felt like...
How old were you then?
I was probably 13, like in 8th grade around that time.
So he didn't call you on your cell phone, right?
No, that'd be really easy.
Okay.
Of course, we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have ATMs or anything like that.
No computers, yeah, I think we didn't have.
Right. So I felt like that was an incredible day I'll never forget in my life. And but I came home, and I told my family, and well, they weren't as excited as I was about me being called, and so there was this struggle going on. And also at that time, getting ready to go into high school, I kept going to that church throughout high school, and I moved out of my parents' home and got a little apartment over here off of Madison and Monroe in Stockton.
Central.
Oh, Central, yeah, absolutely. And worked over here at West Lane Bowl, and worked as a janitor there. Oh, goodness gracious, that's going back.
Wow.
Yeah. Getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and going over there and cleaning up and doing all that. And, my parents instilled in me, you do an honest day's work, and you take care of the things that you need to take care of.
But you said something, you know, that probably a lot of my guests probably experienced. You know, you were excited about something, when you came back, you know, telling us you wanted to be a preacher, teacher, all the above, you know, all the above. And they told you that they wasn't excited as you were.
Well, back then, I think too, women can't do that. That's a lot of the things that I was told growing up, that women aren't supposed to do that. I played softball, and I played on an all-men's team before, because
They didn't have all girls?
They didn't have an all-girls team. And there, believe it or not, another team would not play us because I was on the team. I'm serious. And, you know, because women aren't supposed to do that, or girls aren't supposed to do that. And I was told that for a long time in my life. And then, you know, going through high school and just loving athletics and loving God and just being that free spirit was an incredible gift to me, I believe. And my sports kept me in school because I got a partial scholarship, and I went to Delta for 2 years.
Made you study.
Made me study because, you know, when you're in sports, you have to keep your grades up, otherwise you don't play.
Right.
And at least that's how it used to be. I don't know how it is.
It is still, you have to remain at least a C average in order to
Right.
kind of.
Well, you as a basketball player, you know, I mean, you went through.
I remember I was on the borderline of being ineligible. I ended up making the deans at that quarter. I had to
Because
read.
you applied yourself.
I applied.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about studying and stuff is just opening the book and doing it, putting in the time.
Yeah.
Putting the time, you get your results.
Yeah, so during all that time, I knew I was different too, inside. And then when I went to college, when I went to Delta, there was other people that I hung out with, and we were questioning our sexuality. We didn't understand what the word was at the time. This is in the 70s. And when I moved on from Delta, I went up to Sac State and played athletics and was, you know, excelled and did all of that. And I was just coming out into my own self, being who I was. And my question was, how can I be gay and be a Christian? How can God love the likes of me? And so I struggled with that for a long time, through college, and not understanding that the whole principle of spirituality coming together with sexuality. And, so I went through a dark time, Carter, I gotta tell you.
Okay.
That dark time was drugs and alcohol.
So like I said, first of all, you're saying that women can't do that.
Yeah.
Family, when you had that family support, so you went through a period of life where to hide your, sort of painful. It was painful, dark, you said a dark period.
Yeah, I went through because I was afraid of myself, I think, of coming out, of being labeled. Instead of keeping my focus on God and the good, I turned to drugs and alcohol. And it was a struggle. I didn't know it at the time that it was a life struggle, but I know it now looking back. That during that, after I graduated from college in 1979, that's when it all hit it. Now what am I going to do? Now what, you know?
Right.
And
that's graduation. Okay.
yeah. Now what?
Yeah.
And so I had some goals that I had set for myself, and I attained those goals, and well, good for me. But there's more to it. Addressing the question of being gay and being Christian. And I said, well, if I'm going to go to hell, I'm going to go to hell having a good time.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of my thinking was that if I'm going to go to hell, I'm going to.
So what did you choose to do? What you seem like you told me some pretty some stories about how you say drugs led to like big time.
Big time. I was in a system of where I would go pick up bricks of cocaine, and cocaine was the drug of my choice. And I was a dealer. I sold cocaine to everybody, anybody that would buy it.
Anybody would buy it. Anybody would buy it.
Anybody would. Basically, I started with a friend of mine, and him and I went into what we called our business, and then he got transferred, and so I took it on, the rest of it, and I was in the drug business for about 10 years, and when I finally had an awakening. What happened was, a friend of mine went through a program, and it was a clean and sober program, and got sober. And I had been struggling with, gosh, is this the life I want for myself? You know, I'm not getting any younger. How's this going to be? And I had got hurt on the job that I was currently at, and I could no longer do that job. And how's my life gonna end? And what I say is I was in the gutter looking up. Looking up.
Couldn't go much lower.
I couldn't go much lower. And so what I did was, once my friend came over and said, would you go to a meeting with me? And I said, yeah, I'll go. And I'm thinking I'm going to support that person. And so I went to my first AA meeting. And I heard something there that I had never heard before. And that you can have God in your life. And that God loves you just the way God created you to be. And some unconditional love there. And you do it one day at a time. You do recovery one day at a time. And so I went home and I called my boss, my drug dealer boss, and told him, you know, I'm not going to be a snitch. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm doing this for me. I've got to get out. And he said, they're not going to let you out. You know too many people. So, well, so be it. And he said, well, let me call you back tomorrow. So I hung up, and he calls me back tomorrow, the next day, and says, okay, this is the last time you're going to hear from me, and just watch your back. And we hung up, and I'm still here to tell you the story.
How many years ago was that?
21 years. Yeah, 21 years ago.
You know, there's two things you mentioned in there. You said, you know, first thing you said, you was fighting with God. How can God love one? Like someone that's gay, so to speak, lesbian, right? And you have, that's what I'm saying. To me, I went to that seminar that it was the event at the fairgrounds.
The training.
The training. You know, it opened my eyes to actually what gays go through when they do relationship. Like I said, you can't be married and all that kind of stuff, but still. You could be about for 20 years, and also when that person is deceased, now what? You know, somebody, the family comes in, kick you out, take all the stuff. No personal finances together. It get pretty ugly. It kind of opened my eyes too. That they're like, wow, I didn't realize, you know, what people go through. But to deal with God and being gay, what did you do?
Well, part of the program was you get a sponsor, and I had a sponsor that helped me get through some things. I also went to some counseling and got some help to filter out some things that were real and some things that weren't, and really just seeking that deeper relationship with God is what helped God get me through to where I am today, which is a totally different person than I was 21 years ago.
And you think about, when you talk, and then another thing you talk about, being you say you dealt drugs. I mean, you talking about bricks of cocaine.
Absolutely.
That's not like a little gram, a half a gram. You know, it's about. Most I ever think it was a quarter of an ounce or something like that in my lifetime. But it was just a bricks. I can't imagine that. But what I find out is that imagine gangster dealer. You ever put guns in people's hands or something like that? And,
I never did. And again, this was like 70s and 80s, and in the 80s now we're talking about, sensationalized, but we did have our codes, we had our ways that, we would make sure we weren't being followed and all of that stuff. So yeah, there were things like that happened, but,
Yeah, but it was part of who you are today. If it wasn't for those 10 years, you probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. You'd probably be somewhere else doing something entirely different.
It taught me to respect humanity. No matter where anybody is, people like you want people to tell their story. Everybody has a story, and everybody's worth something. Right. There's nobody out there. If you're listening and you're not sure about your life is worth something, and you really are worth something. So.
What now? Oh, Black Widow Spiders on the set. Okay. That's okay.
We're all right.
Just stay away from rubber right now. Okay. 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 One thing I said, like, our show, we always talk from the heart or whatever, and we don't edit or cut anything. But right now, I see my cameraman is coming from me like,
Black Widow
Spiders on the show. But, actually, I have a lot of passion for, like I said, people.
Right.
Because I've been at my lowest points at times where I'm like, man, what am I going to do next? And like you said, You know, you go through college, go through sports and all that kind of stuff. You're on top of the world. Everybody
Sure.
knows you, and all of a sudden it's over. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what talents did I have? What talents do I have? What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Or what people look at if I do this job? What are they going to think about me? And you're going to be somebody that you don't really have to be.
Right. Well, I think part of my journey is that I've learned throughout the years, and especially being called to ministry and breaking some barriers of being a gay Christian and trying to tell people that God's love is unconditional. You know, some people take the Bible literally. I take it seriously. And you know, I'm not a literalist, but I take it seriously. And to me, it's a guide's roadmap. But there's a lot of roadmaps we could take. And you know, I just thank God for bringing me up and taking the time to let me figure it out.
It loves you unconditionally.
It loves me unconditionally.
And I know people would say, oh, how can you be what is your father like? You have your ministry, has it grown, or you have struggles with that? Like, how can you?
I think sometimes, you know, our church is growing. We have a great cross-section of people. We have families and parents and single people and people that are gay, that are straight. We have a straight board member. I mean, you know, it's awesome. And you know, I hate to put labels on people, but we do that.
You have to, yeah.
We do that, and that's unfortunate. I think the great thing about our ministry is that everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter where you've come from, what you've done. What's important is that you're here now, and how can we help you get to have a closer relationship with God?
Are there any special programs that you have at your church that you may want to talk about?
Sure. We do. Right now we're in our back to school mode, so we're collecting backpacks and school supplies for the needy children. We used to do the TLC school, but I think they went out. They're no longer. But transitional learning.
Okay.
We've helped the Lodi school, the Lathrop schools, and a couple of other schools here in Stockton. During the Christmas season, we make Christmas stockings, and we adopt families. We do all that. We also feed the homeless. We do Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We make sandwiches on Saturdays, and we take them over to St. Mary's. On Sundays, a hot meal goes out to a group in the Lodi area and under the bridge. And we do a lot of stuff with our youth right now. This coming Sunday is Youth Sunday at our church, and they're doing everything. So I'm excited about it.
Where's your church located again?
We're at 4118 Coronado Avenue, Stockton, California, right up off of West Lane. And we're in a building program because we've outgrown our building, so we're looking for a new location. We're looking for land, or we're looking for a building that we could move into. Yeah, we've outgrown our building. We need a new space. So, you know, God has truly blessed us, and if we can just, you know, I think sometimes people like to look at the things that separate instead of the things that gather us. And because we're all different, and so there's always going to be a difference. But if we can unite around the things that bring us together, how awesome could we be? We could be so powerful if we can just find the things that we can agree on and move forward and work together. Even if we don't, I work with people that theologically don't agree with me, and that's okay. I'm part of Interfaith. We do some interfaith work.
Is there a lot of gay ministers out there, or pastors, or that you know of, or have met?
There are some. There's in our denomination, we're predominantly gays and lesbians. Okay. Not all, but you know there are, and we're MCCs around the world. We have churches around the world. We're a global church. And I think that's the other issue is not only being a woman pastor, but then also being a lesbian pastor. There are some barriers to people, and some folks want me to be the motherly type because I'm a woman, and when I act administratively, there might be an issue around that. But I think for the most part, our folks have, we come together with the purpose of serving God, and we have to just let those other things go.
You know, you mentioned something about how, you know, I think that you just mentioned how like, they all come together. We have more things that are alike than we have that are different. You know, even because you eat, some people eat sushi, some people eat curry chicken or whatever. We're more like, you know, we all have one heart, one mind, two eyes usually. I never seen like two heart shapes or two brains. But think about it, we're human beings.
Yeah.
I remember my mother used to tell me I could bring anybody home for the snake, because she was afraid of snakes.
Well,
You know. But
smart mom.
yeah. But the thing is just being yourself. And I can imagine the struggles you went through. You say you were in the gutter at one time in your life where you just chose drugs, alcohol, you know, and that fast life, or very dangerous life.
Yeah.
Not only that you were dangerous, but you said they might kill you. You can't get out of the business. You might have to be in it for a lifetime, but you got out and you still here to talk about it.
Yeah.
And those are listening that, you know, no matter what road you might take to get to where you are with God, find that road.
Right.
And
And
stay
it's
on
so
that.
important to find the spiritual sense of your life. And if anybody tells you that you're not worthy, I want to tell you you are worthy. God created you in God's image. And God doesn't make junk. God does not make junk. And God knows that you're gay before you tell God. God created you. You know, that way. Some people don't believe that, but I know I'm a living proof.
Right.
God created me this way, and it's a gift, and for a reason. And that's to tell people that, you know, it breaks my heart, Carter, when I hear of teen suicides, of the bullying that's happening in the world. It breaks my heart when people are being abused and used because they're different. It's maybe not just a gay issue, but the gay issue is a predominant issue of why people are bullied. And it just breaks my heart.
And I believe that if you are out there breaking, you know someone who's gay or lesbian or homosexual, bisexual, whatever my sexual, transgender, whatever.
Send them over.
Yes.
Let them
Because,
come over.
you know, this is real.
Yes.
These are people. They have feelings too.
Yeah. Let me tell you before we close, there's a story of a young man. I just found this out. A young man was ministering in a prominent church here in Stockton, and he came out, and they fired him. And now he's ministering somewhere else. But he told me that our ministry saved him because he knew there was others like him.
But he didn't know what
But he decided, you know, that he wasn't going to lie anymore. And there's people in congregations all over the city and the state and the world that are lying to themselves.
And and one thing about God is, you know, tell the truth, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to God, He already knows. But
Absolutely.
you know, I was reading a book just the other day, and it was talking about being honest with who you are. No matter who you are, be honest about it. You have that integrity, you have to be honest. Now, if you're trying to be fake like you're somebody else, that's not being honest. Terry, if there's anything you want to say to the people before we close, what do you want to say?
I want to say God loves you, and that you're not junk, and there's a place for you to find yourself spiritually. My church might not be the church for everybody. What I would say is find a safe place that you can go, and so that you can be who you are. And don't sell yourself short. Life is hard, but we're able to do it. We can do it.
And being gay, lesbian, transgender,
It's part of who you are.
It's who you are. I know, like with me, people say, well, I've never made anybody like you before. I said, you're right, because God don't make one of them.
Absolutely.
You know, we only have one fingerprint, and there's no two fingerprints alike, so we know that He knows, and it's probably going to need more people like yourself to be able to step out. And it takes a lot of courage. I'm going to commend you for that. To come out and say, you know, I'm a lesbian, but I'm a pastor, I'm a child of God.
Absolutely.
So don't treat me any different than you would. You're a good person.
Well, and you know, I'm in a committed relationship for over 15 years with an incredible woman, and it doesn't, you know, we have the same struggles that other relationships have. There's so, again, it goes back to.
What are you going to have for dinner? You didn't cut the yard and all that, you know, how much you get, finance, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But still think about it. You know, it's funny you would say that. A friend of mine, I just mentioned, that's not important. But anyway, again, I want to thank you, Terry, for being on the show and being honest.
Thank you.
Because, like I say you talk from your heart. For those who are watching, don't judge Terry. If you know somebody who's going through those same struggles, like say teenage suicide, don't have anyone to turn to, please call Pastor Terry Miller and her congregation will try to help you out as best they can. Thank you very much for watching Puffy Hour Show.
That's it. That's it. It's a wrap.
Feel creepy now. I hate that feeling. It's almost like a spider.
They
My body
like,
tingles.
I have questions to ask sometimes. I mean, they always go fast. I just
Yeah.
this is all about, just tell your story. It can't be fake.
My day was like huge.
Big Puffy Hour Show. Mr. Johnson, you see my phone over there anywhere? It didn't ring.
Yeah.
This time. The phone is ringing. The phone is ringing.
Yeah, it's over
Black
here.
widow spiders, huh? You don't like them, huh?
They like dark, moist places, so that's probably over there by that dark curtain, they're
Yeah.
probably all real happy.
Dark.
Oh, I see the cobweb too, man, he's been busy.
Yeah,
Or she.
I see it now, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
it's been busy. Wow. That's why I can get up and start crawling away. That's funny. Hey, Mr. Johnson, you gotta get a picture first. And get a picture before you get up.
All right.
See my phone?
Yeah, it's over here.
Can you have my phone, Jeremiah?
Where is it?
On that stand over there.
I turned mine off to be sure, because
One thing I did break 5 times and rest, but I don't know. One thing about this show is I never would edit anything. Then I would have to watch it all.